Pole of the light. You're on. Yeah, there you go. It's on there somewhere. Yeah, maybe further down. There it is. There it is. Are we in the green room as we do our tech thing here?
No, thank you.
Great.
Live?
We are in the green room. I don't know. I got a thumbs up from our producer today,
Oh, 5-4.
lovely Tiffany, who's
5428.
our tech person. So we're in the green room.
I think so.
No, we
are we
need it.
live, Tiff?
Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the green room.
It is good morning. And you know,
We have a substitute today. We have to give a shout out to Tiffany Saxey, who came in urgently because Don, our normal producer, is out sick today. So thanks to her.
but Don
stepping in.
did make a fantastic background
He did.
for us. And you know, listen, we typically on Monday and Tuesday, Ruta and I talk about what we're going to talk about in the green room. And of course,
Yeah.
this week with the primary elections on
Elections over.
Tuesday.
Oh, God.
Well, we had to kind of delay what exactly we would talk about until Wednesday.
Until Wednesday, anyways. Yeah.
And
that's
listen,
true.
I'm the one that posted it on Facebook. It was a half-empty box of donuts. In the ER world, there was an old saying: there was always a box of
There's
donuts in the break room.
Yeah.
Because when you got to lick your wounds, it helps to have a little sugar on
And we
your
had some
tongue.
yesterday because we needed it.
We did. We had to lick our wounds.
Oh,
Listen, we were
badly.
Team Nikki here, pretty well
Yeah,
known.
Team
But
Nikki.
listen, we're going to be all
But shout out to
Team
Nikki.
Charlie, of course. And
We
we'll
are.
get back to Nikki in a
Yeah,
second.
well, we have to.
We're going to join behind for the effort.
Yeah,
You know, listen,
absolutely.
Nikki to me ran a really strong campaign,
She did.
a vocal
She
campaign.
did.
I think she was just a little bit too hot topic right now for where the electorate feels we need to be, quite frankly, to beat
Well,
back
They think we need
book
to go.
burning, and we'll get to
Yeah,
that
for,
specific as a
everything.
topic.
But the
Okay,
thing is, like, it's funny because if you look at the country, and Florida is always unusual, and this is what I
we've
find.
been here much longer time than
But
I.
Florida's weird because if you look at the US for the primary elections, it was kind of divided. It actually was kind of divided. It either went like very pro-Trump or it went for the agenda of women's rights, which was huge. And I know Nikki was very passionate about that.
Of
So,
course,
but Florida went towed the DeSantis Trump line of extreme conservatism, up until our school board in Sarasota County, which was a
let's talk
shocker.
about it because
This
on
is a
Sunday,
shocker.
well, you know, it's interesting. Why do
It's
elections
sad.
matter?
They
Elections
do
matter
matter.
because some people just had their student loans paid off.
Yeah.
Okay, this morning, good or bad, agree or disagree. But it was a Biden promise during the campaign,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, one that he fulfilled. So to me, whether I agree with the policy or not, I'll be honest with you, whether there's actually a politician that does fulfill a promise,
Yeah.
I'd love to see a promise fulfilled of cannabis reforms advancing as well, since we
Yeah.
are in the green room.
We are.
But
gonna
just
see that
getting
happen.
ratcheting back to it, elections matter because of certain things on the local level. And I want to
School
open
board
it up
is
to you, Ruta,
huge.
because you
No,
know a lot more
school-
about
school
this.
board-
You know,
School board was horrific results this year. We had for decades, the teachers administration of Sarasota County was Democratic and liberal, even though it's supposed to be basically a nonpartisan seat. It's been turned extremely partisan, and DeSantis came down and actually backed the three that won, which is Ziegler, who's the head of Moms for Liberty, who are into this book burning binge.
and if you look at the list of
frightening.
books
Oh my
that are on, I
God.
don't know. I mean,
Come
it's pretty
on,
scary.
it's scary. First of all, like
Diary of Anne
and
Frank
To
and
Kill a
Catcher
Mockingbird,
in the
Catcher
Rye.
in the Rye.
No, I mean, these are standards.
These are classics.
And I'll be
American
honest with you,
classics,
Ruta,
and
I'm
they're saying
not
they don't
quite
need to be
sure
taught.
what
We all read them.
society. I'm not quite sure what society those that believe in the withholding of
Communist?
these books. I don't know.
Communistic
I don't know.
dictatorships. Yeah.
There's so much alteration. There's so much alteration in
crazy.
brain development these days, guys,
Oh,
with everybody carrying a cell phone around in their pocket, able to Google what they feel is the, you know, truth and science and this and that. It's really not. In the old days, you went to the library, you researched,
yeah,
you know,
of course. So now it's
you
different.
pulled books.
But
Why
those books
can't
are
we get rid of,
classic.
listen, I'd rather get rid of the video games,
Yeah, thank
so
you.
to speak. What's the one
Really,
where you get the hookers
then-
on the and steal the cars? What's the name of that one, Tim? Grand Theft
Theft
Auto.
Auto.
See, I knew you would know that. You know, not that you played it. No, it's a generational
but
thing,
it's a
though.
generational thing. And here you have Governor DeSantis, and now you have a school board of Sarasota County that is not partisan. all of a sudden DeSantis is stating, and he was here visiting in Sarasota.
I
for those that don't
screenshotted
know.
his comments.
Yeah,
they're quotes.
his comments are quotes, and these are about teachers changing students' gender identity.
So this is about,
behind the
so
back
this is
of
in
the
regards to the
parents.
parental
It's
control bill or whatever.
insanity.
Quote,
Insanity.
most parents are strongly supportive of saying, let's not go down that road. There are some school districts where they will take a student and change their gender behind their parents' back.
That's
Give me a
shocking.
break. This is wrong. And in Florida, it's not allowed anymore because of that bill, quotes our governor.
Oh, yeah. And did you hear his speech down in Miami?
Really bad.
He actually, this was actually a frightening thing to me. He actually called out on the people that were in the audience and his listeners and his followers to actually suit up with the shield of God,
Wow.
coming for November. Meaning, like, this guy is running his own personal crusade in Florida.
Well,
I
no.
mean, it's the Crusades. He's literally going to ban everybody and everything that's not believing the way he does. I mean, this is really, really scary
Well,
stuff. It has to be taken.
Well, you know, the
seriously.
fear of a
Scary.
theocracy is something
my
that
God.
literally would probably drive me from the country, you know, to that
Of
extent.
course,
yeah.
any normal person. This is not what. Look, we're starting to
Didn't even think
ban
about
We're banning books. We're telling people to take God's armor up. What kind of country are we living in? This isn't the United States of America that I remember growing up in, and it's becoming increasingly scary.
So I'm glad we have Tiffin here with us today because perhaps she can help.
Yeah,
Because
she's a younger. What
no,
generation
because
are you?
here's the
Tiff?
point. What's that?
Millennial.
You're a millennial.
A millennial.
Oh, are you a millennial?
Is that how you?
Oh,
Okay.
wow, because you're like probably on the cusp, right?
So
Yeah.
I want to understand what exactly is woke ideology. Hang on. DeSantis also spoke about woke ideology and vowed to keep it out of Florida schools.
Yeah, we're supposedly woke.
Quote, this toxic ideology infecting institution after institution. We will fight the woke in corporate America. We will fight the woke in government bureaucracy. We will fight the woke in our schools. Florida is the place where woke goes to die, said DeSantis, unquote. So I got to be honest with you. I need to understand what this is because it seems to be a really important thing.
It's woke. Well, now this is their big term for the liberals.
But what does it mean? Does it mean that you believe that slavery was actually a bad thing?
Yeah, like teaching.
There was a Holocaust.
Yeah, there was a Holocaust.
That actually,
that LGBTQ rights exist.
Right.
That
Gender America
identity
is actually
issues
the land
exist.
of the free
Yes,
and the
that you have
home of
religious
the
freedom.
brave.
You
Right.
don't have to be Christian to live in America. Yes, that's
That
what
the
woke
land of the
means.
liberty that the Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
holds up means
All
all.
people,
right?
yes.
I mean,
Well,
within the law itself, I mean, listen, when you hear, you know, the whole thing, I guess the main issue, okay, on Earth 2, as I like to call it, is the southern border. Okay, the border. The border. People are coming for us. They're going to take our jobs. They're going to. How about the 98,000 IRS agents? Okay, and this is Grassley, a senator, is talking about 90 with guns coming into small. Ruta, we better reinforce we're a small business owner. Seriously.
But you know what's okay?
I mean, but that's irresponsible.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So
And
what is woke? What
know.
is woke? What does that mean? Does that just mean that you believe in a liberal, progressive agenda?
Yes,
I guess is that what it
yeah,
is?
Pretty much. That's
Right.
what it means.
So there's a
yeah.
30 or 33% of the population that wants things to go back to the 50s.
Back to the 50s.
Right.
Yes,
Where
absolutely.
Richie and
where
you
the
know,
housewife
Fonzie,
is in
right.
a little skirt.
Hey,
and,
that's my
and-
worst.
well, did you see
connotation.
DeSantis? Did you see DeSantis? He was dressed up
No,
like
that
Maverick. Like Maverick. Are you kidding me? Like,
No, but
he
that
thinks
cross
he's
thing,
Maverick now.
that cross thing
Oh
is
no,
scary.
yeah, to put the shields of God on, that's very scary.
So
the shields of God. Yeah. When
So-
you start talking like that, this is not America made it clear that there's a division of church and state, and that there is no official religion of this country, and there should never be one.
See, but it's so interesting to me because if you look at what's going on coming out of Mar-a-Lago, of course, and this and that, and to me, people ask, well, what is the one fundamental thing that has always bothered me about former President Trump, okay, than anything? He's never felt that he has to follow the same rules as
No.
everybody
And he gets away with it.
else.
And he hasn't. And he's
We'll
proven,
see about this one. See, this
he's
one's
proven
interesting to me, the
loophole after
documents.
loophole.
The
I don't know.
documents are interesting.
He's
and
not that much. He can't be that stupid. I really, you know what? I really doubt.
I don't
he's
know what
that
he is. I
stupid.
think he likes the incitement.
Oh, he
I-
does.
I
He
think
pushes the envelope on
he
purpose.
does.
And I think, you know why? Not to his credit, because I really don't want to give him credit for anything he does, but he pushes the envelope of the United States laws. He does. And he knows that he can pay attorneys. They find every loophole there is. So he can get away with things that an average follower of his, one of those Trumpers, will never be able to afford the attorneys that he has. And, you know, I was in Tennessee, like for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. And what was frightening was that red, white, and blue flag.
No, the
You
black,
don't-
black, blue,
and white, whatever.
black, blue, and white. Yeah.
It's not the American flag, and people are flying it all over like the state of Tennessee. And I was like, do you realize this is not
I'm going to Georgia
American?
tomorrow for the
This
week,
is, it'll
so
be
I'll give you the
interesting.
report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, these people don't even realize that this is anarchy. They're flying a flag that's not American, as if it's the American flag. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable.
No, it's a very unusual time.
It's a horrible time. And the fact that, like, from school board, which was really, usually school boards races were so under the radar, nobody cared. You have a governor coming down to pitch for the school board of Sarasota to be conservative. Why? And we have to actually, for all the voters out there that voted for the conservative group, you have to ask yourself,
That's an
why?
important 3 letters, Ruta. Why?
Why?
Why? What is the
Yeah.
agenda?
What's the agenda of the school board, of getting
the-
into a
I don't
school
know.
board? Because now you talk about indoctrination, and this is what I think is very frightening. You know, they love to all of the Trumpsters and the DeSantis and the right-wing wackadoodles love to say that the liberals are indoctrinating their children, indoctrinating. Now you have books that are being banned. You have a conservative group that is coming in that's going to change the way our public education system it teaches and views children. And they're punishing teachers. They're going to literally punish and fine teachers.
Well, we need teachers. We
Which is
can't. The
insane.
teachers. There's
Well,
a
now,
paucity of
according-
teachers in the
And
state.
not only that, but now, like, did you see DeSantis? Like, any Joe Schmo who wants to become a teacher is going to start educating your
Well, we
children.
respect our veterans.
We
We respect
do,
our
but,
first
like,
responders.
does it make them
we
a
respect
teacher?
life's experience.
Okay,
But to
no,
say that life's
no,
experience
no.
takes the
That's like
place
me saying
of a
I'm going to
teaching
be an
degree.
I'm going to be an ER doctor
I got
tomorrow because I hung around you for
I got-
like a
yeah,
decade. You know,
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
right,
rubbed
yeah.
off. And
Yeah.
Patty, she's been married to you, so she's really an ER doc. I mean,
Yeah,
come
know.
on.
No,
Like,
it's insane. It is
insanity.
insane.
I mean, you can't tell me a fighter jet pilot can teach a kid. Like, maybe he can, but like his specialty is being a fighter jet pilot. Come on.
and it's not like the stats in Florida for education,
Are high.
for
You're in the
mental
dumpster.
health,
Well,
okay,
and not even
for all that type of
education.
stuff.
We're already
Free Florida. you
we're
know?
already 48th in the state for education. We suck. The state sucks on education. And now you're going to put it into a spiral of we're going to be 52 out of 50. We're going to be below
So
it.
it would be interesting that people that run for the school board don't even actually have their own kids in the public schools.
Oh my God. Well, that's the other thing. Like, you have the Zigglers, which are just on the Trump DeSantis bandwagon and have been for a long time. You have Bridget Ziegler, who was a Democrat her whole life, but then and sold handbags at Gucci, at Macy's or something down in Miami, meets Christian Ziegler, the conservative right wing, becomes all of a sudden Miss Mom Christian, now right winger, as opposed to being a Democrat, which she was registered in Miami-Dade. Now she's heading and crusading, you know, Moms for Liberty, yet, and she ran for school board and got put into school board, yet her 3 children do not go to public school. She puts them in private school. And you should have seen her.
I don't understand how her electorate doesn't.
I don't
doesn't,
even
you know.
understand. These people are so stupid.
know.
How do you vote in somebody who doesn't even put her own children in schools
Right.
where you're putting your children and you're saying, oh, let's put her in? You have to be like completely mentally out to lunch. That's all I have to say.
Well, like I said, I
can't.
just think
These
there's a
people are
certain
stupid.
there's been a certain destruction of norms, right? Certain
There are.
destruction of expectations. You know, who wouldn't think, okay, and I guess it's interesting how the whole Mar-a-Lago thing actually started was that the archivists said, hey, where's the, you know, Kim Jong-un love letters, right? Where's
They're
even
part of National Archives.
where's
exactly.
even
It
where's
doesn't
even
belong. It
where's
belongs to the
even
United States,
where's even
not to
President
Trump.
Obama's letter that's
Mhm.
well known that was written to
Yeah,
former
and
President
these are
Trump,
things
right?
that are
Where so
archived.
those were simple things that triggered it.
Yeah.
And then but what insults me is that when you're caught, then you give it up. He was caught. He didn't give it up. They came back. He didn't give it up. They came back again and they still didn't give up. And then they had to raid, okay, the place in the words, right?
But don't you think like,
we'd be in jail already?
all of us would be.
Every single one of us.
And you know also that his cabinet was ordered to shred document after document after doc. You know they were shredding.
That's what's so interesting.
Right.
Why
like
in this world, why don't you just like do this and everything and burn them or shred them?
I don't know.
It's weird to me.
The fact that
what motivates somebody to keep that stuff? Pure narcissism.
It's narcissism.
Pure narcissism.
He wants a record of his.
Can you imagine him sitting there in that room going through the boxes?
The orange hair.
I know I can't. I don't want to. I'll be honest with you.
No, I can't.
You know?
Oh, let's talk about Senate race. A little. That just triggered. So Senator Gruder's.
Well, he must have bashed that guy. I didn't see the
he
numbers.
He took it 65-35.
Sure.
So,
well, we did have some friends that did win. Alan Cohn, friend of the show.
Yeah, he did well. He won his
15,
primary.
I think it is.
It's actually, I don't know, is it 15 or he got redistricted?
Yeah, whatever it is. But
he took the primary for his, so he'll be facing a Republican opponent, and which is an uphill battle because obviously the Republicans want that seat badly. So,
and I think Val Demings, listen, I heard her speech. It was awesome.
She's like such a good like preacher,
well,
like
she is.
She's like, she gets you inspired.
Listen, I just like somebody, and I always have, that comes up from public service and makes the various stops that you make on your way. It's one of the things that has insulted me about this era of politics that we're in. And I think it goes back to Reagan to a certain extent, although I think in general, he was a politician, governor of California,
yeah, at least he was governor first.
But there was a certain, obviously, public image there. And now, of course, coming down the escalator, after The Apprentice or whatever, it's gotten any worse. But Val has come up, even to the extent of police chief and member of the force. And then now in Congress, she's done it. She's been a
cop for most of her life. And then she just ran for office and she got elected. But she's
and I think she's got a very compelling argument against Rubio. Listen, this is Ohio guy talking. No, listen, just speaking Ohio guy, I want to give a big shout out. I know we have a lot of Northeast Ohio people that watch. John Adams, Ruta, would be the guy that has sat in the bleachers of the top row in the old Cleveland Stadium in the bleachers, and now he bangs the drum, boom, 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 boom. And when they were the Indians, that would be like a thing. With the Tom Tops. Anyway, he's in a hospice right now. The Indians just put him and his drum in the Hall of Fame, the Guardians. And I want to give a big shout out to him. It just points out, because I think he's kind of my age or a little bit older. He's not an old man. And it just goes to show you, how fleeting life is. That's why we have the passion that we do, to make the difference while we're here, And
you have to, and each person should. And I think honestly, like, this is the thing that I get, like, I agree with you. And I think people that run for public office, they shouldn't be there for running for office, and they shouldn't be running for themselves. And one of the things that I get awfully offended at is when you hear these politicians speaking, they say "I" a lot. And that "I" bothers me. You are not an "I." You are an elected official by your constituents. You represent them, not "I." And they're always like, well, and I like this, and I view this. Well, not all of your constituents see that. You have to represent everybody.
Sure.
And I think when you become a career politician, and Joe Gruders is one too now. I mean, he was a CPA. You didn't see him do a lot of charity, but he's risen through the ranks, and he's on a projectile to keep going. I know he wants to take Vern's seat, and thank you. Not that I like Vern Buchanan, because I don't, but he crushed William Hyde, who was
Martin
Hyde.
Hyde.
Sorry, Martin
Yeah,
Hyde.
yeah.
Martin Hyde, who was a complete twat,
Yeah.
and so in his own language.
Well, he'll let you know who he is.
Oh my God,
If a patrolman stops
he's
you,
a boisterous fool, and
so yeah, there were some victories.
So there were some, like, I mean, small victories that Hyde didn't get in.
No.
But again, the disappointment for me was school board for Sarasota
Terrible.
County, to go from a liberal Democratic base majority who wanted public education.
And Mothers for Freedom, or
Liberty
or whatever they call them.
They think that, well, the Moms for Liberty, if you went to like, I don't know, down here, I didn't see as many signs, but in Sarasota, you should see, it's like a big heart. It says all moms vote for Ziegler, because it's the Moms of Liberty group that's pushing. And what is their agenda? I think it's to break up public schools. I think they have an agenda to destroy public education. I think it is for indoctrination. I think they want to bring in their Christian indoctrination. They want to teach what they want to teach, not what history is, but a history according to them, which is a very white Anglo-Saxon waspy America, unfortunately. And I think that's wrong. And I think, I'm hoping that the woke people, keep working hard to get these people out in the next 2 years and take back the majority. Because again, I think when you see the education, it's going to go downhill.
Being woke to me means looking to the future, actually worrying about climate change and wanting to make those change, understanding that as the country grows.
It should be like an enlightened person. Honestly, for me, I see woke as enlightened. So
understanding that as the country grows, it's going to grow in brown, as the country,
yes, of course,
because they're going to, it's just where people are emigrating from, right?
Yes.
And people deserve to have the opportunities in this country as the beacon of freedom on a hill,
But what I don't understand, this is
no matter where they're coming from.
Like, okay, this is the other thing I saw in Tennessee. Like, you could see like and unfortunately, lack of better terms, a bubba or a redneck in their truck with that blue-white flag and proud to be an American. Okay, well, so everybody else who's living in America is not proud, or just because you think that you are extra special because you put that flag up that's not even the American flag, that you're American? Like, come on.
I think that's the most insidious thing of the whole Mar-a-Lago side. Support the blue, thin blue line, this, that, whatever. This is the FBI. I mean, do people really think that there is this, and I guess they do, because what other explanation, that there's this deep state, somehow seriously,
state.
I mean, it's almost like, what do you give any hoot about what Hunter Biden might have done 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
No, but let me speak. I'll speak my piece on this, because I don't think the Bidens are,
well, they're not pristine.
They're not pristine.
Course.
They are not. And I will say that. But, and I also will say, unfortunately, I pray one day this country has term limits on absolutely every single seat in politics. When you get a lifer in, I don't care if it's a Pelosi, a Schumer, I don't care who it is, they should not sit in office that long. Yeah. The corruption bleeds. They are all bought by somebody, paid by somebody. There's a check from somebody.
Sure.
You owe a favor to somebody. And I think if we get term limits in, and it's 2 terms, you're out, 2 terms, you're out, 2 terms, you're out, it'll flip, it'll make it better. Because right now, these people are so ingrained and entrenched in themselves and who's paying them, and they don't stand, they all stand there and they'll spew whatever deep down inside.
We're a victim of Mitch McConnell right now.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell, all of them.
But how interesting it was that he called out the quality of the candidate. Those Herschel Walkers, those J.D. Vances, those Dr.
Oz.
No, seriously, it's going to be interesting. And listen, we will be here to continue to, bring in great guests. Listen, I was going to reach out to Sean Shaw, who would have been a great guest today, ex-state senator who ran for attorney general, not in this election. But, I know he appeared with Charlie on the campaign trail. He's got some insights. It'll be interesting to see who the lieutenant governor selection is. Oh, no, we're going to reach out.
too. Yeah,
see if we
we'll
can get
if
Charlie in.
practiced on.
Right.
I think like this is the other thing, like I know that Nikki, and we have to give our shout out to Nikki because she ran a great campaign. She was all over the state constantly fighting for rights.
Worked her
And
tail off.
She is, and she's going to still work her tail off because she believes in what she believes in. And, we'll stand behind Chris, all of us will. And
Be interesting to see if she thinks about taking on Rick Scott, because that's a timing wise may work. It's a couple years.
I don't
down
think
the
she has the
line.
notoriety.
I
to
know.
do it. We need a big name.
Yeah.
So, no, a bigger name. She's one of the things that I was listening to some of the people. Chris does have name still because he was governor as a Republican, but he was a governor. So I think they're hoping to draw on that part. For Nikki, I think it was a great opportunity to get her name out there. I think now it'll be interesting to see what she does, because the only other thing that's kind of sad is the Democrats had only one seat won last year for statewide, a couple of years ago. And that was Nikki Free's position of Department of Agriculture head for commissioner. And now that is a void and it's being elected. So there's Dems and Republicans both running for that. So we actually may lose that one only seat that we had. And Nikki, credit to her, she was a bug in the ear of DeSantis constantly. And
how about DeSantis scheduling a cabinet meeting on the day of the primary? Well, there were three of us who didn't have any election today.
Yeah,
we just got to do what we got to do. Well, every 364 other days of the year.
Yeah,
second cabinet meeting of the year, of course. No, he's just a very malicious.
He is malicious.
Man, and
he's also a narcissist. He's just like he's frightening. I mean, he's an educated narcissist. I don't think Trump was as educated as DeSantis is, but still, I think it's going to be interesting.
It needs to be interesting. We need to be very vocal. We will be very vocal, and we'll see. It's surely going to be a measure of what direction Florida's going to go. Okay. Over the next 2 to 4 years, if not the country itself.
And this is the only other thing, like this is one of the things that frightens me too. Okay, so even our listeners and our patients that use medical marijuana, who did you vote for? Because if you didn't vote for somebody who stands for cannabis, you just voted against yourself. And I think like even for governorship, we know DeSantis is very prohibitionist. So if you're voting for DeSantis for governor, you're voting against your own interest as a cannabis medicinal cannabis user. So like, I think in that sense, I think our voters and our listeners and our patients really need to pay attention to what's in their best interest, because I think they might see something through rosy glasses, but then at the end of the day, they won't see like who they voted for will affect how they get treated as a patient. And I think that's critical. So.
Well, this one's pretty clear cut,
Yeah.
I mean, Charlie Crist has come out for home grow. He says, if you can brew beer at home, you should be able to grow your own cannabis. And listen, anybody sitting in the seat, Governor DeSantis finds the smell of cannabis quite putrid. So that's kind of a tough, barrel to get over. But listen, I'm going to be in Georgia next week. So
I'll probably bring on Dr. Berger or something. I'll bring on somebody.
Yeah. Or I could even connect from the mountains up there or something like that.
If you have a signal. I didn't have a signal up there.
Yeah, who knows if I will or not, but I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Oh, it'll be nice. I enjoyed the mountains. So like, I think, the mountains ground you. It's different than the beach. So it's a little bit different.
For sure.
So have a great vacation and we'll see.
Thanks. And listen, everybody stay safe and healthy and listen.
And yesterday was Ukrainian Independence Day. So Slava Ukraini to the Ukrainians who are still fighting. I know it's exhausting and people are exhausted of listening to the war there, but it's still raging and people still need help. So, if you have a Ukrainian neighbor or something, or you can go online, please donate because they still need help. So,
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because absolutely positively, because let's face it, life does, kind of roll by, and if things don't hit you in the face every day.
And winter's coming, people forget, like in Ukraine, it's cold. So you're talking people that don't have electricity and food and water. And now we're lucky we're still in August, but come September next week, it starts getting cold in Eastern Europe. Yep. So, I pray for them every day. So everybody have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you next
in a couple
week.
weeks.
Bye.
Yep.